Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today it is finally time to give a full review slash kind of long-term review of these two guys. It's actually been like, I think 3 weeks now since I did the unboxing of these, and they've gotten some pretty good pocket time. And what we are talking about is none other than the Concept Tuckamore, as well as the Concept Model 6. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs. Well, actually, I got caught up in my normal routine. This is actually going to be a slightly different review format since I got two knives. I'm not going to go over every single spec in detail. These will, of course, be linked below. That was funny. That was like straight up like automatic regular Wayne mode going into the specs. We do have a few specs, but what I'm going to do, I'll have these linked below. You guys can check out the full specs there. But since I have two knives and to help kind of limit the length of the video, instead of being like a 20-25 minute video, keeping it down to 10 minutes, I thought I would just kind of talk about each knife, what I like about them, and my overall thoughts on Concept and how they're coming along. So we'll start off here. Let's get this one out of the way real quick, and we will start off with the Tuckamore. And as you can see here, this is more of a premium build. This is designed by Jonathan Stiles. We are looking at a price for this exact model. It's $188.90, which I think is pretty fantastic. These range from $179 to $207. There's like 3 or 4 different versions. I really think they all look pretty damn good. I like this one particularly because I wanted to check out this topo type of copper carbon fiber, which I've never really handled much before. Talk more on that when we get to the handle. But yeah, what we are looking at here is a 3.54-inch blade of CPM 20CV, a titanium handle with a titanium milled clip, carbon fiber inlays, and some really, really nice fit and finish. So for $188.90, I think this is a fantastic value. It is very, very competitive with the Wies and the Kaisers and the artisan cutleries out there. And I tell you what, this fit and finish, if there's one thing that I would have questioned Concept on over the past year, maybe even year and a half, was their consistency in fit and finish. And I still really can't speak too much on their consistency because I haven't handled a lot of Concepts. But what I've noticed with these two, which are the first two that I've handled in quite a while, and so they've had time to improve since my last experience with them, significant improvements in especially this handle area. Let's take a look at the blade real quick. Pardon the crap I have on the blade. I've actually been using this one to cut up some bags and boxes. And sometimes I feel like when I clean my blades to specifically give you guys a look at what a brand new knife would look like, you accuse me of not using my knives. And that's really mean. So I do use my knives. But I thought I would just kind of do that to make a statement. I do use my guys. I use them every day. But I also keep them clean and I take care of them so they don't always look like they're beat to hell. But yes, this has had a pretty good amount of pocket time, and it's your typical Wharncliffe blade. It works great. I love the tip, the 3.5 inch. The 3.5-ish inch mark for a Wharncliffe specifically is very, very nice. Gives you a lot of sharp, straight edge to do some good work with. Breaking down boxes is fantastic. Anything, a Wharncliffe really exceeds or excels in a lot of areas of EDC. And this knife in particular does work very well. It has a little bit of a choil area there, which probably isn't considered a choil, but if you want to choke up and be careful, you could do a little detail work with that choilish area there. But the money spot is definitely right here. This feels very, very good. And it feels very good in particular to all of the milling and chamfering or angling or whatever you want to call it in this area. Really, really good job. Let's get as close as we can here. And look at that. First of all, what really sticks out to me is the precision of the inlay. You don't have any chips or cracks along the carbon fiber. It's in there very clean, very smooth. And look at that little line of the top of the contouring of the titanium and how it meets with the carbon fiber. That is a very, very, very nice job of precision milling there. Really like that a whole lot. I like the beveling on the lock bar. And then on the other side over here, you have all the same details. And as you can see, very, very clean and just a really, really good looking design by Jonathan Stiles and very good fit and finish from Concept. By far and away, the best fit and finish I've seen on Concept knives ever. Now, granted, Concept hasn't been around forever, but I've said before in the unboxing, the earlier versions, the earlier Concept knives were a bit underwhelming for me. Granted, it was a startup, but now that they have some time under their belt, it's really paying dividends, and I really am seeing some improvements here. The one thing that I would like to see change is back here, you have these screws. They're coming up pretty high on the handle. I would definitely like to see some lower screw heads, or more flush with the handle. I don't know if they necessarily have to be completely flush with the handle. That would be very, very nice, and it would be nice to see. But there's a lot of other brands that have screws sticking out a little above the handle surface, so I'm not going to completely knock them on that, but I would like to see, that's a little high. I would like to see that come down, because you considerably feel that when you're brewing your finger back here. You don't really feel it so much in the hand that much. You may feel it with your fingers if you reach back here. Not a hot spot. I wouldn't say it's an aggravating or annoying point. But just for the simple fact of you're paying almost $200, I would like to see a little more flushness back there with the tops of the screws and the handle. But in terms of critiquing and negativity or room for improvement, that's honestly about it. Yeah, this is a really, really good knife. I don't have any reason to tell you to stray away from it. And in all honesty, the value alone is a reason to say go for it. The quality and assembly is very much, it reminds me a lot of Kaiser-ish. Not so much Wii. I do feel like it's more in the Kaiser area of premium, which is great. You guys know Kaiser is easily one of my favorites. So that's saying a lot. Now, granted, I don't have quite the consistency with Concept. I hope that consistency continues, and I can see more knives and continue to hopefully sing some praises of consistent quality and fit and finish. But as for the Tuckamore, it is one I would definitely recommend. Very smooth action, slicey blade. Obviously, if you don't like middle finger flicking, you may want to look at another option, because this is primarily a middle finger flicker. It is thumb flickable. I don't know how much I love the thumb flick on this guy. It's definitely a middle finger flicker for me all day, and I love middle finger flicking. So yeah, for me, it's a winner. The Tuckamore is one I would definitely recommend. And I think for, $188 for CPM 20 CV, nice big slab of it, titanium inlay with, or titanium handle with carbon fiber inlay. There is definitely a lot of value here and a really, really good knife in the Tuckamore. Quick size comparison in case the 3.5-inch blade length didn't do it for you. Let's bring in the Shaman, and then let's also bring in the Conspirator. And I think that right there will give everybody what they need to know in terms of size length. Nice, bigger knife. Very, very nice in the hand, and just really a looker. It's definitely a very different design too. If you want something that doesn't look like something else, the Tuckamore is a fantastic option. So off goes the Tuckamore to the side, and now let's bring in the Model 6. And this one here is good. It's really good, but it's really good in a different way. As to where, while this is, I would probably consider this premium, because we are looking at CPM 20 CV and some green carbon fiber. So anytime you have 20 CV and carbon fiber, that's pretty much premium. I mean, it may not be real high end, but I would consider that to be on the premium side. And what's really nice about this is this model actually has a budget version. So if you like the knife and maybe you don't want to spend, this is $149.88 or $149.80 for the CPM 20 CV and the carbon fiber. But if you want 154 cm steel and like some micarta, or there's a couple other handle options, you can pick one up starting at $74.90, going up to like $77, $78 for a budget version. I really, really like that option. I love it when premium knives have budget versions, because we don't all make the same money. We don't all have the same amount of extra money we can just spend on pocket knives. It'd be great if we all did, but unfortunately we just don't. So I love it when there's options for everyone, for different budgets, because I think it's important. I think it's really cool when, someone that usually buys high-end knives and someone that, you know, just can't really afford a lot of high-end knives, they can still have the same design. I really like that idea. So I'm glad that Concept is playing with that. The Model 6 is designed by Nick Swan, and we are looking at a blade length of 3.1 inches. That's a pretty cool maker's mark there, too. I really like that. Yeah, stop looking at me, Swan. Name that movie. And if you can't name that movie, I'm going to be really disappointed. But anyway, let's move on with the review. The blade itself, it's great. It is a great blade, nice slicey edge. The tip is a beast of a worker because it's, again, very sharp. Just stout enough to really do some heavier, like, beater type work and not have to worry about anything chipping or breaking, as long as you don't get too crazy with it. But very nice blade shape, very nice ergos. There's really nowhere to choke up on this, so this is pretty much the one grip, but it does feel very, very good. Nice width and thickness. I wouldn't even really call it an issue. The only thing that was a little disappointing with this was the carbon fiber, and I wouldn't even necessarily put this on Concept. This is just kind of the nature of the beast with these funky carbon fibers when they're mixing colors and whatnot. As you can see, the finishing, I wouldn't call this a finish blemish on Concept's end. It's just kind of what was inside the carbon fiber material, and it's what you're left with. This is very smooth. There's no pitting or any chunks missing. There's just kind of like a marred area, kind of like around here and kind of down here. It looks a little marred, a little like there's something wrong with it, but it's just the nature of the material, because when you flip it over and look at this side, this looks better. There's none of that marring. There's no blemish looking things. It's a much more cleaner pattern in terms of just wavy lines and not any blur or smudge or smears or anything. So the clip side, in my opinion, looks considerably better than the show side, and I wish that was switched around. Like if it looked like this on the clip side, I could care less because the clip hides a lot of that and distracts from everything else. But the show side scale is always with it. You really want all that emphasis and pop and bang and cleanness on. And while it does still look good, like I said, there is no real pits or chunks missing. There's just a couple little smeared areas that is not, I don't really think it's Concept's fault. I think it's just, yeah, like I said, just the nature of the material. Sometimes you get that. But the knife itself is a very, very nice knife to hold in hand. It kind of reminds me of a Giant Mouse Ace Biblio without the finger choil, if that makes sense. I keep coming back to that, and I'm more and more sold that is what it feels like, just without that finger choil. In terms of the actual, they got more of this too. I tell you, I love a good beveling on a lock bar or a liner, because it makes it so much more enjoyable to close that blade. So much more enjoyable. Very, very nice there. And if you like minimal flipper tabs, this is a really, really good one, because it's very, very easy to kick the blade out, and you can kind of light switch it to where you're kind of like halfway light switching it and halfway push buttoning it, but it's very effortless. I haven't misflipped this knife, not once, I don't think. And that usually doesn't happen with something with such a minimal flipper tab. I'll usually be notorious for doing a lot of that. But there's something about, I think it's the combination of the actual scale and handle outline itself, and just exactly the angle and where that flipper comes out at, to where it just makes it a very effortless flip. And I really, really like that. The blade cutout is also very nice. It's not the biggest blade cutout, but it's very easy to deploy. I don't really have any issue with it, because I think it looks good, and it's a very nice size, to where they probably could have made it bigger and it would have maybe even been better to some people, but I'm not left wanting it bigger. I think it's totally fine the way it is, and I think it looks great. So really happy with the design on this, and again, more great execution from Concept. Very, very happy with this. I like this clip too. It's kind of a simple bent over clip, but it has just that little bit of difference to it that makes it kind of stand out. I do wish those screws were recessed. That's kind of a bummer. For a $150 knife, should have recessed screws. So there's another room for improvement right there. But not much to complain about here either. Another very strong offering with exotic carbon fiber 20 CV for $149.80. That's a yes. That is a yes in my books as well. And that's it for these two. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with Concept. In the past, there hasn't been many models that have really grabbed my attention. These two right off the bat were really good, really impressive, and I've seen a couple other ones coming out. Maybe I'll be able to get a few more on the channel. We'll see. Let me know if you guys want to see more from Concept. Let me know what you think of these two models in terms of the pricing and value. I think they're spot on. I really think Concept is really starting to seriously level up, and it's going to be really interesting to see where they are a year from now. But that's it, guys. Let me know what you think of these knives. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.